Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel. Started in Manchester, now representing Reds from Delhi to Sligo to Lagos, because that's what this club does. It connects us worldwide. We are honoured with a very special guest today, a man whose opinion we seriously respect, unless it's about a rapper named Jermaine.
Let's not start.
But we'll save that debate for another day. Maybe we'll have some time towards the end. But he is the Manchester United correspondent for The Athletic, Senor Carl Anka. How are we, sir? What a pleasure.
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm amazing. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Football on Sunday. So I'm very good. Sam, I can't not ask you as well. How are you?
Yeah, all good. United's not ruined our weeks for a couple of weeks now, so it's been all right, hasn't it?
No, we are absolutely flying. Yeah, lovely time. I feel like I'm on a cloud. I can't say the same for certain Tottenham fans and stuff. But anyway, what I wanted to do is kind of kick it off, get the brains going, because it is Friday. Some people work hard. But I wanted to start with
some of us.
Some of us work hard, yeah. So basically, this is something interactive. I'm going to say a category related to Manchester United that I have written down in front of me. I'll ask for an answer from one of you, and the odds are going to get slimmer and slimmer. So there's going to be 6 questions. You just have to avoid what answer I have down, if that makes sense. So it could be it's going to either be a really quirky answer, or it's going to be an obvious one. And I've kind of gone in between. So you've just got to avoid.
So you've not gone for the obvious on each one. You've gone off.
Not on each one, no. So I'm trying to catch his out and thinking, okay, what are they going to go for? And do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll kick it off a nice, easy one, and then, like I said, the odds are going to slim down. Are we happy with that? Yeah.
We'll learn by play.
Cool.
Let's do it.
We'll learn by play. Best way to do it. Name a current Man United player in the squad. Nice and easy.
Manuel Ugarte.
Oh, that's a good.
You knew I weren't going to put him in.
Aiden Heaven.
Yes, well done.
You.
You've passed that first one. Name a player who has scored 20 plus goals in a single season, all comps included. For Man United.
Just checking. 20 goals, all comps. Any player.
Any player.
20 goals, all comps.
I'm wondering who he's gone. I'm wondering who he's gone for, because there's 2 in my head. I don't know which one he's gone for.
In a single season. I'm going to go with Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I'll go Rashford, because I think you've picked somebody else.
Yeah, well done. These are both avoided. Van Persie, I had in mind.
I thought you wanted to go for Ronaldo. Yeah. I thought Ronaldo was
You had the Van in there, just not the... Yeah. Name a Manchester United captain. So, Premier League era onwards, of course.
Premier League captain. I'm going to go Antonio Valencia.
Oh, you bastard.
They've both gone.
Bastard.
They've both gone.
That was mine. Harry Maguire.
Yeah, they both passed that. I had Eric Cantona.
Okay.
Name a player signed under Eric Ten Hag.
Malacia.
Ooh, good
I
shout.
was going to go with him as well. That was going to be, yeah.
Okay. Sofian Amrabat.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I had Christian Eriksen. All right, we're going to start narrowing the odds down now. Okay, start narrowing the odds down. And this is going to get tough, these last 2. So, name a player who has won the Ballon d'Or at Man United. I don't know what it was called in the 60s or the 70s.
There's only
it was still
2,
called the Ballon d'Or.
It's still called the Ballon d'Or? Okay. No, there's
still
not only 2.
There
is 4, right?
There's 4 Ballon d'Or winners.
Yeah, there's 4.
Yes, 4 Ballon d'Or winners.
I only know 2.
Okay.
I'll go Bobby Charlton.
Okay, Carl.
I'm going to go Cristiano Ronaldo.
Come on!
Wow.
I thought Cristiano Ronaldo would get me in trouble.
I thought Ronaldo.
Because I thought it was an obvious. So I thought, okay, so I went George Best. Name a player who scored in a Champions League final. This is the last one, and you've both got through it unscathed.
Sheringham.
Wayne Rooney.
I had Teddy Sheringham, Sam. The last one. You have almost got there. An inch.
You nearly did it.
An inch away.
You nearly did it.
I thought Solskjaer. I thought it'd be Solskjaer. I thought that's the obvious one. So
that's where I went a little bit. I was like, oh no, I'll go because that's a little bit thing.
No, I went for Rooney because it was a losing final.
Yes. You don't get any prize, but you get to.
I get the true prize, the amazing prize, the prize already on my head.
Hey,
you get my respect. You get my respect.
There you go. You can have that. On to the more kind of topical stuff. A couple of things that me and Sam thought would be great to discuss and get your thoughts on, Carl. Sesko is one of the biggest ones at the moment. Should Sesko be starting on Sunday? And a couple of specific questions about him as a striker. The Carrick dilemma. What do we do heading into the summer and next season? A couple of depth options for Champions League potentially, and end of season predictions as well, if we've got the time to do so. Sam, do you want to kick us off with Sesko? Because I know you've got an interesting question around that.
We did the Palace preview, I think 2 days ago, me and Chivy, and I was like, I have been shouting for Sesko to start for like the last couple of weeks because he's come off the bench, scored vital goals, West Ham, Fulham, Everton. Carrick seems reluctant to start him. I know the question got asked in the presser that you were at today, Carl. Has he made a bit of a rod for his own back, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where he's so good coming off the bench and he's so integral doing that role? That's the way he's going to sort of stick with him, like how he's going to utilize him, or does he deserve a start? Like he needs to be starting.
Right. Well, this is the Premier League. There's no such thing as deserve. Now, I've done a couple of seasons at this. You get what you're given, and you make the most of any opportunity that arrives. So I don't say anyone deserves anything in this. These boys asked me a question that was so spicy, it caused my entire computer to crash. Sorry about
that. It's all right. I just thought you didn't like us, and that's why.
It was so spicy. This Šeško question. Yeah. It caused my computer to crash entirely.
There you go.
Right then.
Okay. Do you want me to ask the question again, just so you've got a run over?
Well, I know what it is. I know the question is. It's up to Nick if you want.
We can go straight from that.
Do you want another sec?
Yeah.
Sure. Right. So I don't like using the word deserve when I talk about football, especially at this level. I think there is no real deserve. There's opportunities, and it's up to you to take them. I think having spoken to Šeško in the mix zone after the Everton game, he seemed pretty relaxed about the situation. Didn't make any sort of what you normally get in a situation like this is you talk to a player who's come off the bench and scored and said, do you think you've played yourself in contention? And they go, oh yeah, what matters is the team, but obviously it's nice to play, which is the sort of nudge, wink, wink of, I hope I've played my way into the starting formation. And Šeško offered none of that. He said my impression of the conversation was it's very, very clear between him and the coaching team at United about why he's only playing 20, 30 minutes right now. He doesn't seem to be angling for more openly, or indeed, if there is a reason why he's on the bench right now, it's been explained to him properly and he understands that, and he's pretty calm about that. I'll talk with the Devils earlier this week, and Ian offered the idea that perhaps because they're not playing 90 minutes, they, being Šeško, he's not necessarily feeling the pressure of, oh my God, I'm 22 years of age and all this pressure to score in one of the most scrutinised roles in world football. And he can just go, right, I'm just going to empty the clip in 30 minutes, get these shots off, and if it works, it does, and if it doesn't, well, no one's expecting me to do this right now. The reason why my computer crashed earlier is because I was actually trying to bring up the damn quote that Carrick gave us earlier today. So if you bear with me, I'm going to look at my phone and look at my other screen to get it for you. Here we go. Hey, Michael Carrick was asked today being Friday as I'm talking to you, about Šeško, and is there an argument about to give him a super sub role? And I'll just quote it for you. The whole thing is a real positive. It's certainly not a decision that I look to in a negative way. We're playing well as a team. We're not getting carried away and thinking that carries on. The forwards have scored a good number of goals. Ben has been good in so many ways. It's not really a drama. It just shows the quality Ben has got. If he starts the next game or the one after, it is what it is, but he's doing so many good things. Now, that's pretty much in keeping with nearly every single large question Michael Carrick's been asked in a press conference over the last couple of weeks. He straight backs everything. So that quote is pretty much in keeping with Michael Carrick in many press conferences where someone will ask him, is this a problem? And Michael Carrick goes, no, not really. Or says he relishes it. So this is what we normally refer to as a nice problem for a manager to have, where you've got a really good player who can come off the bench and get you a goal. Also, he's not particularly mardy about the fact that he's not starting games right now. So I would have liked Šeško to have started at least against Everton. I think, okay, keeping on the bench against West Ham was fine. But against Everton, I thought you might want a little bit more of a threat running behind. Carrick felt differently, but also he called on Šeško earlier. And I think the second half on Sunday is going to be really, really interesting because, well, when United went to Selhurst Park, it was it felt like a pretty even arm wrestle until the 60th minute, and then Crystal Palace just ran out of gas. So if you can have a player like Benjamin Sesko to come off the bench against the Crystal Palace team that again is playing on Thursday and again is at risk of running out of gas, not a bad problem.
Absolutely. I was wondering, and I've been kind of going back and forth with this in my mind about Sesko. How do we make sure we don't have another kind of Hojlund situation on our hands? And I know the different players, and maybe you can explain how they are different. Like I personally prefer Benjamin Sesko to Rasmus, but we have seen Rasmus also have a purple patch where he's gone and scored, 10, 11 goals or whatever it was.
In the Champions League as well.
Yeah. How do we make sure we keep his ground on the feet, and what's the differences, in your opinion, to both strikers?
I mean, when I did my cheat sheet to Šeško before he signed, I even included a segment in there if I've been burned by Hojlund. What's the difference? One thing that stood out already was Šeško was older and more experienced at the time than when Hojlund arrived at Manchester United. Šeško had played more games for his national team. He'd played more games in the Champions League. He'd played more games of senior football at the time. Ben Amorim called him a control freak, how much time he spends on Y-Scout and looking into preparation and everything. And from what we've also heard is this is a man who actually really, really spends a lot of time on mindfulness and preparation and journaling to make sure he is plugged in when he needs to be plugged in, but also unwinds properly. Whereas it felt to me, and I'm not the most au fait with the situation, it felt to me sometimes that Hojlund perhaps was paying too much attention to the outside noise. And that was starting to
great point.
play on his mind a little bit. The waiting for a miracle phase was particularly unkind, and I felt like that hurt him a little bit. I'd also say one thing that disrupted Hojlund in his first season was he got a lot of little injuries. So his little purple patch in the springtime, that gets cut short because he got injured again. And also because there were no other options for him up front, he just played too much. And you can feel it when a striker, I'm just going to use the phrase, gets in their head a bit. Sometimes you're going, mate, do you want to just take 5 minutes out? Whereas at least with Šeško, he's coming off the bench. If he's in his head a little bit, and Mbeumo's taking those minutes up, or Cunha can in theory take those minutes up as well. So that, or indeed Zirkzee can take those minutes. So that's good as well. What we do know is after the game, his preparation is so long and so meticulous, it can actually make it quite difficult to interview him. So
in what way?
So you know what a mixed zone is. You play well in a football match, and then if you score a goal, you get offered to do broadcast interviews and or the mixed zone with the written journalists to talk. After his goal against Fulham, he scores the winning goal, and everyone's going, right, okay, Sesko, you're going to do a bunch of interviews afterwards. And then, okay, fine, did his interviews with the broadcast media, and then went, I'm going to go do my cool down now. And his cool down of stretching, meditation, mindfulness, and to get back to an even keel took an hour, which that's cool, right? If you're a football player, if you're a journalist stood by a car park, you're like, mate, please. So it's little things like that I'm feeling he's paying particular attention to making sure he stays focused on what he has to do and on an even keel so he doesn't get too high and doesn't get too low, and again, I can't confirm this, but it sometimes felt that Rasmus was prone to bigger momentum swings, and when things weren't going well, that was difficult. I also think Benjamin Šeško is walking into a squad with better attacking options, which means if he does end up in a bit of a down period, there are just better people or more experienced Premier League people around him who can help him sort things out. I mean, that counter-attack against Everton, and Šeško's pointing for the ball and going, I want the ball here, Mbeumo's going to make that pass. Whereas I'd say
Garnacho definitely isn't.
Okay, you said Garnacho. Fair enough. Yeah, Garnacho might have passed it to where he was previously stood, or perhaps would have passed it to his weaker foot.
Or not passed it at all.
These are examples. Any player you could have put in there and this is the thing. So, yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, and it seems like he's doing a lot to protect his body, his mind, and his momentum. So long may it continue.
I've got plenty of receipts for people about Benjamin Sesko anyway. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. No, I was just going to sort of go on to the sort of next bit. Like you're speaking about like players sort of taking care of themselves and stuff like that. And it seems like Carrick is giving players not freedom, I would say, but room to express themselves. So you've seen like a bit of a surge in results and some performances as well, like the performance against City. with Carrick, is it really simple sort of tactical implementation? Like, is he just sort of sticking 4-3-3 and allowing players to play in their preferred roles, or is there something more to it that like idiots like me and Nick don't understand, where he's actually doing other things that are not getting noticed as much tactically? Or is it really simple? He's just keeping it nice and simple for the squad.
With situations like this, what I tend to do is look into repeated words the players are saying. So if the players are using a certain word over and over and over again, I'm like, right, that's probably getting brought up on the training ground or in the dressing room or somewhere else. And for what I'm able to discern from 2 or 3 interviews, the word clear keeps getting picked up. He's making it really clear. It's quite clear what we've got to do. Things of that nature. And this isn't, sometimes this works as a, not to denigrate the previous person, but as a contrast to the previous person. So we know that whatever Ruben Amorim wanted, it was very bespoke, and it also required different formulations and different things you had to do in different phases of play. Because while it was, the starting formation was a 3-4-3, it would change shape chameleon style based on what phase of play you were in, whether you're in or out of possession, and indeed where the opposition had the ball. Whereas there's fewer things to remember and fewer instructions, I think. And the starting points for a lot of the moves that these players have are much more in keeping with starting points that you've probably been doing since the age of 14, if you're a football player. And this is not to say wing-backs are bad or playing with wing-backs are bad, but most people who have been playing football have more history playing in a back four than not playing in a back four. And for example, this Man United team right now, when they defend in a 4-4-2. And it's a compact 4-4-2. They really make sure it's compact and there's very little space in between your midfield and defensive lines. Quite a few teams in the Premier League defend in a 4-4-2, and multiple United teams previous to Amorim defending in a 4-4-2. And also Ruben Amorim did ask United to defend in a 4-4-2 in certain phases. And one thing they always say is when you want to defend in a 4-4-2, one of the reasons why you defend in a 4-4-2 is because it's just incredibly intuitive in that in most phases of play, if you're playing a 4-4-2, you can put your head up, you can look left, you can look right and go, right, I'm meant to be stood here in relation to wherever, based on where everyone else is stood, I should be stood there. And I think you're seeing that simplicity, if that makes sense, there. And I think that's really interesting. Although I will say, yeah, I absolutely have seen in games more occasions where teammates are talking to each other about what needs to be done, or when they've spotted something. There's been 2 or 3 times in the last 6 weeks where I've seen Bruno Fernandes give an instruction to Ahmad as he sort of spotted something in the middle of the game and gone, right, we can do this. We could run this together.
Yeah, he switched positions with him, and he's told him, said, I've spotted, and he's moved him over, hasn't he? So he could go out in the wide. I've seen that. There
was one, I want to say, against Tottenham Hotspur where Ahmad and Cunha didn't make the correct run when Ahmad had the ball on the right-hand side. And then the ball sort of did another passage and Ahmad turned to Cunha and went, no, when I get the ball, you have to make the run. And then 5 minutes later, Cunha made the run. Again, Šeško's goal, the fact that he's pointing, put the ball there. That's interesting to me. One thing that I think is interesting also, the entire season long, players are complaining less. If you are a United fan that got annoyed at how much moaning or whinging Bruno Fernandes used to do, Fernandes is doing that less now. And I think that, to me, that feels like that was something that was made clear under Ruben Amorim at the start of the season. Let's not whinge as much. Let's just get on with it. I think you're seeing fewer moments where people are throwing their arms about or got their hands on their hips and looking despondent. And now it's more about, if we see an opportunity, can we seize it? If one of our teammates do something well, can we do it? One thing that I quite enjoyed in the victory over Liverpool, so this is on Ruben Amorim, is Lassana Lamans made a really, really good pass. No. It was Dorgu. Dorgu made a tackle, sent the ball out for a corner, and he sort of stood there in front of Lamans, waiting for a high five or something. And Lamans grabbed his arms and just spun him in the direction of the corner. You'll get your high five.
Make sure the corner.
You'll get your kudos in a bit, but we've got another job to do. So there's just there's maybe 2 to 5% of things in that, 2 to 5 less of the negative histrionics that you're seeing in the field, and maybe 5 to 10% more of, this is on, lads, we can do something there. And I suppose you do that and you might be able to turn a draw into a win or a potential loss into a draw.
Or go undefeated in 6 games or whatever it's been. And that's what we're absolutely doing. How much of an influence do you think Steve Hojlund plays in all of this? Because obviously Michael Carrick's the one who, the headlines, the main man, the figure, but you think about the work he's done under huge elite coaches. The small, intricate, detailed things that people might not see, what you've just explained, some of them there, the distance between the lines, pressing triggers, defensive shapes, all these kind of things. He's not getting a lot of the attention. He might be one of those guys who doesn't want it, but he should get a lot of credit as well, right? Considering how we are setting up defensively.
I think it's the whole team. I think there's a reason why when Michael Carrick won Premier League Manager of the Month, he was stood with his entire coaching staff. It's not just Steve Hojlund, and I've heard really good things of Steve Hojlund across his career. I've said on 2 or 3 other podcasts that I was one of the reporters covering England over Euro 2020, and this was when Steve Hojlund was working next to Gareth Southgate, and by all accounts, Steve Hojlund took up the lion's share of training, the X's and O's and the stuff on the grass. Steve Hojlund took the majority of that, and Gareth Southgate was someone who, if he felt the intensity wasn't quite there, or if he felt a player wasn't quite able to bring his best, that's when Gareth Southgate worked. And depending on who you talk to, Steve Hojlund can be a bad cop to another senior manager's good cop, or indeed you can flip depending on those situations too. So we know Steve Hojlund worked there too. In the mix zone, again, talking to Šeško, he talked about doing his work with Travis Binion. Binion is the under-21 coach, and it seems that he is working with the strikers right now, sometimes individually or sometimes as a group on certain phases. And it also seems like Jonathan Woodgate is working with the defenders on certain schemes too. It also feels as if some of the things they're doing when they're defending, particularly some of their tactical fouls, feel like something a certain centre-back who wasn't the fastest but was very good at standing in the right place might try and teach you. So you can guess which coach is passing on that information too. So you've got that as well. And when United scored their set-piece goal against Spurs, that pulled back from Mainu to Mbeumo at half-time, Carrick gave praise to his coaching staff and also gave praise to one of his analysts as well. I don't like saying Michael Carrick changed everything. I do think it's important to mention coaching staff and a coaching team. And I'll say, and I don't want this to come across as disrespectful, Michael Carrick's coaching staff has more Premier League experience than Ruben Amorim's one.
Yeah, very good
Steve
point.
Steve Hojlund has put together more training sessions ahead of a Premier League game than Ruben Amorim's coaching staff did.
Yeah.
Jonathan Woodgate had more coaching experience, albeit in the Championship at Middlesbrough, but has a coaching experience of English football. And we know one of the things that Amorim and Benjamin Fernandes both mentioned towards the end of last season was, as the season went on, Ruben Amorim got a stronger sense of how strong the bottom half of the Premier League table is. Steve Hojlund knows the difference between playing Brighton at home and playing Newcastle away. He just knows that, and he'll be able to explain why going to Ellen Road for Manchester United will be different compared to, say, Brighton going to Ellen Road as well, and what you need to prepare for there. And I think those tiny things would have helped there too. These are things you're hearing. I think Steve Hojlund's got a heck of a lot of experience, right? His time across Chelsea, his time across England. I think he's been a good get. And there've been some times where I'm watching Manchester United defend, and I've sort of gone, oh yeah, England used to defend like that just a little bit too. I'd be super interested to know or see how Manchester United play when Mason Mount comes back, because I think Mount's relationship with Luke Shaw from England camp was pretty good from 2020. So if Mount's body can handle it, and if Luke Shaw's body can handle those overlapping runs down the left-hand side, is that something Steve Hojlund's going to try and talk to Michael Carrick and say, look, this can be a way we can solve our wide problems until Dorgu gets back as well. So it seems like we've got a good bunch at Carrington right now, and it seems like whatever they're telling those players to do, it's going through right now. I've heard mention that the training sessions now appear to be shorter than what they were last season, and there's been a mention about the intensity too. So it seems good, doesn't it?
It does.
For now.
In my head, I always go back to something Jose Mourinho said when he was doing a bit of pundit training. It might have been during like the United-Liverpool game, and he said, it doesn't matter what you do in this life of football, and I'm paraphrasing, you have to be compact and you have to squeeze the lines and you have to defend as a team. And I think United under Amorim, even Ten Hag for a lot of the periods.
Ten Hag, Rangnick, I remember very clearly there was a game against that. There was a 1-1 draw against Burnley at Turf Moor, and it was they had Fernandes and Pogba in the field at the same time. And there was a bit where they were trying to defend in a compact shape, and Pogba had both his arms out horizontally. He was doing almost a T-pose and going like, boys, boys, calm.
Yeah.
And it was just like the shape was just not there. Whereas the derby, just the intensity the players were retreating in was great. The fact that Bruno Fernandes was pointing out to Mainu, because Mainu was retreating at top speed, and Bruno's like, no, I don't want you to retreat to where I'm stood. I want you to stop earlier. And he's pointing to Mainu. You need to stand there as well. So they're retreating quicker, and it seems to have a stronger idea of which reference points to use into what spaces to fill in, which is good now. Look, they kept a clean sheet away from home. Ain't that great?
Yeah, something.
It's been a while, that, hasn't it? It's been a while. We've not been had that for a while. I wanted to touch on, like, I know you do the shopping for whoever the next manager is at least on the Athletic. I mean, it's probably changed that, but how many
Is that
times
the
at this
official
point?
title?
Well, it was shopping for Ten Hag, and then it was shopping for Amorim, and now it's obviously shopping for, I don't know who the manager is going to be next. So it's like
there is. I've got 800 words on the back end. I've got 800 words on the back end from. Well, I started writing it late December, and it was shopping for Amorim part number whatever wing backs.
That's gone in the bin.
Well, it's not in the bin, but there's a piece that's not going to see the light of day for a long time. Maybe one of those players will end up be more of a fullback and end up in a shopping for ex-manager fullbacks, but we'll see.
Yeah, but obviously we're in need of depth. Like if we do qualify for Europe next year, Champions League, Europa League, whatever it is, we need depth. For you, I know the obvious, people say midfield, which I agree with. What's the vital positions United need to sort of recruit in the summer? What's the sort of type of profiles? I'm not going to ask you for names because that's the clickbaity, and I don't want the aggregators getting on the stuff as well. So, yeah, what sort of profiles do we need to look at? And the positions we need to fill? Because obviously, in my head, it's like I think fullback. I think obviously a couple of midfielders. I think maybe a striker. Maybe United are looking at a left winger. Yeah, in your opinion, what's the type of profiles we need to fill in those positions?
Big question. All right. So Andy Mitten has said before about how United are going to be in the market for 2 central midfielders. I mean, in terms of profile, one of those central midfielders is your Casemiro replacement. Now, one thing that's very, very difficult is you want your Casemiro replacement to also be complementary to Mainu as well at the same time. So you can't just go out and buy young Casemiro, or you can't just buy Casemiro Mark II, possibly because that player just doesn't exist. As far as I'm concerned, it's very, very hard to get a player who was that defensively intelligent, defensively intense, who's also really, really good at progressive passes and long passes, who's also really, really good at set pieces in both boxes. There are some players that are very good, but it's very hard to get all of Casemiro's qualities all in one. And you can almost feel it, that there are some people getting ready to go, you Twitter Tactico said this person's better, he's not better than Casemiro. Look, we all know Casemiro is really, really good. And even at 34, and he's not able to cover ground the same way he is, you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get someone who is 75 to 80% as good as what Casemiro is able to offer you. But that's not to say you can't try. But you want your Casemiro replacement successor to be complementary to Mainu. That means that person needs to be good at long passing. Mainu right now is more of a connector. He's more of a shuttler. He's very, very press resistant, but he's not yet shown consistently week in, week out, he can do 3 or 4 long switch passes. You want someone who might be capable of the sort of pass Cunha did to Mbeumo on there.
We need Michael Carrick
as well.
We need Michael Carrick, don't we? That's who we need, essentially.
But if you want to get... Okay, we can do this one. If you want to get in the time machine, a Manchester United themed time machine, and say you're allowed to go back in time and get a former United player to do this job, you start off by going, we're getting Raheem.
Yeah.
Then you're going to go in the time machine and you are probably going to get Michael Carrick. Then you're probably going to go and get, and this is a tricky bit, you're going to get Nemanja Matic, but for like 2 or 3, like you're specifically getting 2 or 3 very particular weeks of Matic. You want Matic at Chelsea? I think the signing of Matic gets overlooked at how not good it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that bad, Matic.
I think it was. I think it's secretly very bad.
Really? 60 minutes, his legs would fall to pieces, and we just.
You should have.
I
think you were meant to go out and get a very, very hypermobile defensive midfielder who could cover loads of ground and be Paul Pogba's bodyguard. And in a summer window where Fabinho went to Liverpool, it felt like Mourinho got Matic because they could do a deal for Matic and they already had contact details for Matic, rather than because Matic was the person that best fit. Now, when Matic was good, he was very good, but there were so many phases where he was unavailable or he couldn't cover ground the way he wanted because obviously he'd got a lot of miles on the legs. And also one thing that was underrated about Matic is he was left-footed as well, which is super duper useful. But yeah, so he'd be third on my list of players you go out and get if you got the time machine. We all know Manchester United are going to be in the race for Elliot Anderson, like many other football clubs are going to be in the race for Elliot Anderson. We know Manchester United had a conversation with intermediaries for Carlos Baleba, which is the best way I can explain that is where you go up to someone in a nightclub and go, my mate fancies your mate. That's that. It's that version of things.
Yeah. Does tapping up just not exist anymore? Is that not a thing now?
Hey, I did a whole piece on the Athletic. You can read about that if you want.
Yeah, like it just that seemed to be like a whole thing, didn't it? Like the Ashley Cole, there was a whole tapping up thing and stuff, and now it just seems like we talk to agents anyway. It just seems to be a thing.
Oh, it's definitely still going on, 100%.
Tapping up. Well, here's the thing. You should not. Anytime you're reading these stories about how personal terms wouldn't be a problem or personal terms already agreed, that should fall into tapping up.
Yeah.
Right? You should not be able to know if personal terms have been agreed because you technically should not have been able to approach that player without first contacting their club. However, nowadays, everyone tries to agree personal terms before you put in the bid because why put in the bid if you weren't going to get personal terms done? Anyway, from what I understand, from what I wrote in the piece, everyone is kind of okay with the fact that everyone's agreeing personal terms with everyone else, apart from a small handful of old school football managers, two of which are no longer working in the Premier League since I wrote that piece. What they are not allowed to do, and this is the important bit, and this is why you might get in trouble for tapping up, is if you are in the conversation with a player or a player's team and that player has a release clause, you are not allowed to tell them you have a release clause or what's in that release clause.
If you're the buying team.
Yes. So there is a player. So Gibbs White. If you go back to the summer, it looked like Gibbs White was going to Tottenham Hotspur. And then Nottingham Forest reported Tottenham somewhere because Nottingham Forest went, hang on, how comes your very first bid just touches over this £60 million release clause? Why would you bid this specific amount unless someone's told you he has a release clause of 60 million? So that's why that move didn't quite happen, along with many other reasons. But Nottingham Forest did.
The hostage video of Marinakis, where it's like, I'm so happy to sign. And he's just stuck
conspiracies online.
He was happy. I'm not raising any more comments about that.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say if you were talking about a profile of a football player as a Casemiro replacement, you want someone who is incredibly athletic, hypermobile, very good at defensively minded stuff. So what we refer to as front foot defending as well as back foot defending. So front foot defending is being able to push up and go, I can go make an interception now. Whereas back foot defending is I am retreating towards goal, I need to make a tackle. So I say Manu Ugarte is better at back foot defending than he is at front foot defending. Ugarte will see a mistake and go, I'm going to go get the ball now. Whereas Casemiro can go, you're about to pass there, I'm going to go snip it out. And I think the Casemiro successor needs to be very good at front foot defending where possible. I think if you're going to be Mainoo's partner, you need to be a good progressive passer, so you need to be able to hit a switch. I also think you need to be very good in the air because Mainoo is more of a lover than a fighter in the air right now. The first time I saw Mainoo play at Goodison Park, he was 5'9", and in this most recent game at Hill Dickinson, he was 6 foot. So he's coming into his body a lot.
Nothing wrong with being 5'9", by the way. Just putting it out there.
Absolutely nothing wrong with being 5'9". Ask Lissandro Martinez about that. So I think those are things there. And then when you talk about the second midfielder, we're not hearing any news about what that second midfielder's profile might be. I would say that one might be a little Bruno dependent. So if Bruno has a nice World Cup and goes, all right, I've had enough, I'm going to go take that money from Saudi Arabia, then maybe the profile of player number 2 might be, can you get a Bruno successor, which would be expensive.
Good luck with that one. Jesus Christ.
Which would be expensive. Now, if Bruno stays, then the profile of midfielder number 2 might be more of a, who is the Mainoo partner, not partner, who is the Mainoo deputy or the person who shares playing time with Mainoo, if that makes sense. You're nodding your head, Nick. Sam's giving me a poker face here.
Yeah.
So
you want a name? You want a name? Is that what you want?
No. I think if we're talking in terms of profile, I think we're looking at an all-action number 6, who can be the Casemiro successor, and then a box-to-box number 8, who can be a contrasting flavour to Mainoo in certain periods. Because while I love Mainoo, I'd be interested to see how we feel about how his body will be able to cope with playing 50+ games next season, possibly, after a summer where he might be playing for England too. So that's those profiles. And he also mentioned that United might be in the market for a centre-back. I think this one is the easiest way I can explain what's... If you want a centre-back, you need a cat. So you need a defender who is more like Euro than one like Aiden Heaven. So we did talk about this after the West Ham game, where I said some centre-backs are dogs and some centre-backs are cats. So you've got some centre-backs who are very, very good at marking the man, very, very good about in the air, and very, very good at see ball, win ball, hurt man, and make sure man doesn't get past you with ball. And amongst that, Harry Maguire is a dog-like centre-back. That sort of meat and potatoes, English, I'm going to make tackles and I'm going to win the ball. I say Matthijs de Ligt is quite similar. He puts in big tackles. He sees the ball. He wins the ball. He's a lot quicker than Maguire. He's deceptively quick for his size. And he seems to be, the longer he's been playing in the Premier League, the better he's been getting at the aerial duels as well. I think Aiden Heaven, he's a dog-like defender. He sees the ball. He wants to win the ball. And I think 2 or 3 games he's had this season, he's got away with the fact that he's so young, and referees have gone, you're not going to get booked for that, but you've got to be careful soon. Like, there was definitely a moment at Villa Park where he was clambering all over Ollie Watkins, and you felt if you were 26, you'd be getting booked for that.
Was he Wolves
so he's
as
a
well,
dog.
where he got booked early? Was it?
Yes, and he got taken off because he was so aggressive in that.
Yeah.
So Aiden Heaven's a dog-like defender. De Ligt's a dog-like defender. Inez is nicknamed the Butcher, so we're going to put him in a dog-like defender sense as well. Whereas Lenny Yoro is a cat-like one, where he's more about precision. He marks the space. He waits for the time you take a heavy touch. He doesn't gamble on a 30-70 because he thinks there might be a better 50-50 later on, and he jumps in. United don't have too many cat-like defenders, and cat-like defenders tend to be more expensive because everyone wants one. I think the best cat-like defender in the Premier League right now is Liverpool's captain. We don't have to mention him by name, but who he is. And that sort of defender is quite hard. So if you can get another one of those, because I think every centre-back partnership, one should be a dog, one should be a cat. So that might be interesting. Or indeed, if Matthijs de Ligt comes out of this back issue quite nicely, maybe United go, we got de Ligt, we got Maguire, we got de Ligt, we might renew Maguire, we don't need another centre-back. I think United might be in the lookout for a left winger or a left-sided option. I think a lot of that relies on Dorgu coming back. They don't look good playing wide at the moment. It feels as if they've been playing quite narrow because Cunha wants to cut inside and come to the half space. Ahmad wants to cut inside too. And Luke Shaw is good, and Luke Shaw is good, and Luke Shaw started every game for United this season. I'm now going to knock on wood so it can continue. But the drop-off from when Luke Shaw is injured to the next player is so big. If it was up to me, and I was in that sort of recruitment room, I'd say we need to get a possible Luke Shaw successor, or at least a Luke Shaw understudy, and make sure that player is left-footed, because it seems very much like Malacia is going to go this summer as well. So
is either one of them Amas or Diego Leon? I think one of them.
Amas, unfortunately, he's picked up that hamstring injury not long after signing for Norwich, and Diego Leon, from what I've seen in a couple of academy games, he doesn't quite look ready for for senior team football right now. So if you can get like hypothetically speaking, if there's a 22, 23-year-old football player who is left-footed and can get up and down and do those sort of overlapping runs, that can work too. Especially now because, depending on who you talk to, Ballon Dorgu is going to be left wing next season, isn't he?
Apparently.
Yeah, which I'm absolutely not mad at, because I think he's been performing incredibly well. I'm very lucky to get that injury just before it. There's some of the names you've mentioned there, quite young players in your Andersons and your Beliebers, and I think we definitely need that kind of type moving forward. But where does experience come into this? Those kind of signings that you look at and you think, especially if we're getting Champions League football, when Arsenal go and get like a Christian Norgard or a Jorginho or something like that, do you think United will go down the road, that kind of road? Look at Granit Xhaka at Sunderland, the impact he's had there. Do we need those kind of players as well, kind of dovetailing with youth?
This has been asked to Carrick today about Harry Maguire's contract situation and whether or not Carrick's going to have any say-so in there. If Maguire leaves, you've just lost a very, very experienced Premier League centre-back, and a centre-back who's very good at the last 10 minutes against Everton, right? A team that's whipping in loads of crosses, and Maguire's like, go on, bring it. And while I think Lenny Yoro is very, very good and has the potential to be very, very good, he perhaps isn't as au fait and as comfortable with that aerial bombardment yet because he hasn't dealt with it yet. So I think that'll be really interesting. One question we get asked a lot, or one thing that gets emailed a lot to Talk of Devils is, do you think Manchester United should be in the market for an experienced striker who can take the burden off Sesko / Hojlund / Xerxes? And I find this question really interesting because I'm like, who is that striker, right? We all talk about, we should go get that experienced striker who can do that. I'm like, who is he? Who is that individual?
It was Cavani, wasn't it? That was the guy. That's the only one.
Yeah.
He was the
right?
dude.
Who is this mythical 30-year-old striker who's okay playing 20 matches a season and is really nice and friendly and also can take the burden off? I don't think those strikers exist. Who is in that sort of 28 plus age range who's good enough to play 20 matches for United, but also doesn't have the ego to say, I should be starting every week, and also somehow can still press quite well. And that's really important to our pressing. So, yeah, I think if you look at United's transfer dealings over the last 2 or 3 windows, they've been taking a similar tack to Real Madrid and to 2 or 3 other clubs where they're not spending transfer fees on anyone over the age of 25. I mean, you can look at, sometimes, this is how boring and pathetic I am as a human being. Sometimes I click a football club, go on a transfer market, and I just look at their summer windows from a certain year and see, has there been a shift in their transfer policy in a certain year or in a certain day? Sometimes I go, has there been a shift since, for one thing I often do is, has there been a shift in their transfer policy since COVID? And for loads of clubs, it's been like, since COVID, we're not spending transfer fees on 25-year-olds, on anyone over the age of 25. We're trying to buy younger players earlier. We're more willing to spend 50 million on 22-year-olds to see if it can work out. Real Madrid's one it's so clear that Real Madrid went after Eden Hazard, no more big fees on big players.
Yeah.
And if they are going to spend a big fee, it's going to be on a free agent, and they're going to get the money on the back end, or on the back end, I shouldn't say that. They're going to spend the money on their contract and their weekly wage rather than on the big fee. So Mbappe was a free signing. Trent Alexander-Arnold was a free sign. Free signings aren't free, but rather than spend 70 million to get 70 or 120 million to get Mbappe, or however much money to get Trent Alexander-Arnold, they've just waited for those players to run down their contracts and then gone, we're going to give you that money per week. And it feels as if Manchester United are doing something similar. They're not dropping big money on players over the age of 25 since Casemiro, because I think they've gone, Casemiro was a good signing, but we did more or less put £100 million his way to get it done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, maybe if you've got the spreadsheets in front of me, I might have a look at certain players. And if it was up to me, I'm probably having a look at 2 or 3 players that I'd like to get relegated and saying, I'm not really worried about their age, but they played really well, even in their relegation season. We should have a look at them. But in terms of that Jorginho or Norgard type figure for Manchester United, I'm not hearing any noises so far about United being interested in a cheap pick-me-up.
Interesting.
Cheaper pick-me-up, I should say.
Yeah. There is no cheap pick-me-ups in football, I don't think. Well, we've had a couple. Aid in Heaven, that's a cheap pick-me-up. I like that.
There you go.
I do like that sound. Yeah, end the season. Like, we are, how many games are we in now? 18? 19?
No.
11
way
matches left
more.
for Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
11 matches, Michael Carrick, sorry. We're in 4th as it stands, qualifying position for the Champions League. We could possibly snatch 3rd, depending on what happens with Villa. Do you feel confident that United are going to attain European football, or do you think we could see like a late drop-off for United and a surge from like Chelsea and Liverpool where we sort of miss out? Do you feel confident? Because it's gone from European football, hasn't it? That's what they were saying. And then they mentioned when Carrick came in, it's Champions League football. So the narrative has changed. So
Not the narrative, the objective.
Yeah.
Mission creep is the term I use for it. Yeah, the mission is crept. Darren Fletcher was the very first person attached to Man United to outwardly say Manchester United should be aiming for the Champions League. And he said that after they got eliminated from the FA Cup. And he said, look, I know that might sound silly, but I truly believe this squad is capable of getting the Champions League. And throughout the season, I said, if United finish higher than 8th, I'd be surprised. And look at me, I'm surprised.
Yep.
United are probably going to finish higher than 8th. Amazing.
We all are. None of us predicted top 4, I don't think, on this channel.
I don't need to write a guide to the Conference League for Manchester United fans, or start prepping that, because it looks like we're going to be,
imagine. At
worst, it looks like they'll be playing Europa League football at this current point in time.
I don't even know what the music sounds like for Conference League.
It's the same thing. People make this joke to me all the time. It's the exact same thing.
Okay.
League.
Is it that?
One?
Ooh,
Okay, that's
Come
fine.
on, like, do something different. If it's a different, surely a different theme.
They should have their own anthem. I would like them to have their own anthem. But the good news is it looks like Manchester United aren't going to be competing in that competition next season. It's also looking more likely that they'll be hearing the champions come the end of the season too. Am I confident about this? No, I'm not paid to be confident. I am paid to look at the numbers and look at other football clubs as well and not get carried away.
What do the numbers tell us then, Cal?
We did talk with Devils on Tuesday morning, and someone asked us where we all think we're going to finish. And Laurie said third, and I'd said, go on. If United finish higher than fifth, I'll be delighted. So I'm staying at fifth. Having looked at the running of Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, and United, I am more inclined to think it's going to be Villa, Liverpool, and United in some combination of third till fifth. I think Chelsea have the hardest running.
Yeah.
And this was confirmed. So our Chelsea reporter, in collaboration with Opta, did a calculation on the fixture running. And then again, on our Thursday episode of Talk of Devils, Critch explained how he doesn't like reading too much into fixture run-ins because, as he said, certain teams will be on the beach and certain teams will be fighting for their lives. So many things can change. And like when you're doing a fixture run-in, put it to you this way. If you're doing a fixture run-in computer list, Chelsea are playing Leeds between now and the end of the season, and United are playing Leeds between now and the end of the season. Leeds hate both of those clubs.
What have we got against Chelsea?
Well, it goes back to a FA Cup game from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't like to hold on to anything, do they?
There is
real hatred between Leeds United fans and Chelsea fans, but perhaps not a on-field.
Right. Okay.
You have to get up for it in the same way than, let's say, Manchester United versus Leeds. So while many computer or many data sets would say playing Leeds away from the game is at Ellen Road, isn't it? It's not Ellen Road.
Yeah.
Playing Leeds at home.
Yeah.
So playing Leeds might be a 4 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. That 4 out of 10 will be different if you're Manchester United compared to if you're, say, Aston Villa. So there's that. I think Chelsea's fixture list and also the fact they just keep picking up red cards.
Yeah.
I've got more questions about Chelsea's ability to cope with the run-in than I do about, say, Aston Villa, Liverpool, and Manchester United. I think Unai Emery's a hell of a coach. I think his ability to find solutions by coaching them rather than complaining about players being injured or players being being unable to buy them means I don't want to bet against Villa. I'm not sure if they'll keep third, but I think they have enough in the tank to get the job done. Liverpool are the reigning champions, and they've got 2 or 3 players that are going to go down as some of the best players in Premier League history, and therefore I think they've going to have just enough to do it. And also, I've seen Liverpool do this before. I've seen Liverpool be outside the Champions League places, and then towards the end of the season, they just go, okay, now we're going to push and push and push and push and find the level. So I think they'll find their way into 5th. And look, and by the way, let's be clear, it's like 92% plus chance that 5th will get you Champions League now because of how well the English clubs are doing the Champions League. And the Man United, well, United have got the momentum. They've got goals in them. They've got a fixture list that is pretty okay, and playing only 1 game a week gives the coaching staff more time to train, and it seems like whatever they're doing on the training ground, the players are listening. I know we all say, oh, but you got more time to train. It's like, well, if you've got more time to train but all you're doing is doing nonsense, that doesn't mean anything. Whereas what I'm seeing right now is whatever they're doing on the training ground is working and they're paying attention. So yeah, I feel bad because I like Liam Rosenio and I like quite a few of those Chelsea players, but I just think they might not get it.
No, I have to agree. Before we wrap this lesson up with Carl Anka, because I do feel like it's a lesson with Carl Anka, maybe that's what we should call the show. Always learn something.
A lecture with Carl Anka.
I do always say that to you, Carl. I feel like I learn something new every time. I wanted to, me and Sam could maybe throw some quick fires at you before we head off. What has surprised you this year, whether it's Man United based, it could be Premier League based? Like, what's really took you by surprise?
I didn't predict this sort of set-piece heavy Premier League season. I think one of the reasons why I said before a ball's kicked, United would be lucky to finish ahead of 8th is because I expected quite a few of the Premier League's middle class to kick on, whereas I didn't feel Liverpool would tail off this badly. I didn't think Chelsea would sack Enzo Maresca. I didn't think Newcastle would tail off this badly either. Leeds United, wow.
I know.
I can't remember what international break it was, but I remember looking at Leeds' fixtures after that going, Daniel Farke's getting sacked. I thought he was the most likely manager to get sacked afterwards, and he's just kicked on, and Leeds now just looks safe. Ton Stature, by the way, he was a player that came up pretty well in my shopping for Amarin and
Don't
shopping for
mention
Ten
that
Hag,
around Sam,
Central
man.
Mises.
Anytime someone mentions Stack
Do you know
around
what?
Sam, honestly.
I was talking about Anton Stack, and then it came up in your list because me and Shreyas did a show where we're like looking at midfielders for United and stuff, and I did some research and I found Anton Stack, and then he was mentioned in your list. I was like, right, I've been verified here. Carl Anka's picked him, and now he's
You've been
absolutely,
co-signed.
yeah, he's absolutely smashing it at Leeds, and I'm like, why did we not buy this kid? Like less than 20 million, he was available.
He's really
Stupid
good,
idiot.
and
Yeah, he's a good
I'm
player.
sort of really annoyed that he's gone to Leeds because
Yep.
now he's going to stay in the league. And you're like, you're going to be that much harder to extricate.
Yeah.
But he's a very good player, and he surprised me in a positive manner. What else has surprised me in this season? Well, I certainly thought Ruben Amorim was last in the season. I'll tell you that.
We all did.
United can have their own section this season, can't
I
they?
really thought he
Brentford
lost
is
the whole
surprised.
season.
Brentford is surprised.
Yes, Brentford
I
is
thought they were
surprised.
getting
I
relegated.
know we do this.
Lose Visser, Mbumo, and you've lost your manager. I thought you're going down. Like, that's happening. And lo and behold, Keith Andrews is absolutely smashing it.
In manager of this season, in my opinion, genuinely.
It's
I think he's
amazing.
done an incredible job.
I can see that. Liverpool's problems, I thought they tailed off a little bit. I didn't think they tailed off this much. And the knock-on effect that's had elsewhere has been super interesting too. So, yeah, those are the main things I got wrong. And the main things I just did not see coming this season. There's a couple of things I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I'm vaguely on track there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad Mbumo just cracked on.
Yes.
He was one where when United said they were interested in him, I went, if Mbumo doesn't kick on at United, then United truly are broken because
wrap it up.
He ticks so many boxes. He was Premier League proven. He just does so many things, good and proper and nice, and he offers so much of what I think quite a few of us thought Jadon Sancho would offer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to throw salt on Jadon Sancho. I think he's a good football player, and it's good that he's getting a bit of run of form together at Aston Villa. A lot of the efficiency and the way Mbumo breaks down teams was what we were hoping for Sancho, and now we are thankfully getting an Mbumo, so that's nice.
Yeah.
What surprised you most this season?
That's a good question. Maybe Liverpool, with the money that was spent, and obviously Premier League champions, and how far that period kind of between, was it November, December, just did not see that coming. I thought Wirtz coming in as well. I thought Wirtz would be, obviously he's starting to kick on a little bit now, but the first kind of 6 months, I was very, very surprised by how he's performing. I thought he'd be a top player. So Liverpool has probably been the biggest surprise to me. Sam?
Yeah, but I mentioned Brentford. Like we did our season predictions as like Brentford are going down.
Yeah.
Like it's just a guy. He's a set piece coach, and no offense to set piece coaches and stuff, but he's stepping into a Premier League club with no experience. He's lost 2 of his best players. It's not happening. They're going back down, and he's absolutely shut my mouth completely, and I'm well happy for him. Like,
I made a joke about how Brentford's succession planning is a bit like the German national team in the 2000s. So Germany went from Klinsmann to Jogi Löw to Hansi, and then you're like, oh, cool. And then you look at all the photographs of Jogi Löw when they win the World Cup, and you're like, wait, that's Hansi Flick.
Yeah.
So, look, I think the good thing about Brentford, and the thing that they have that a lot of clubs don't, is they know who they are. They know who they are. They know what they want to do, and they know exactly how to shop for that.
Yeah, great recruitment.
And this is also why I think they shop for strikers so well. Is they go, can we get strikers who are combative and good on the transition? You're not going, oh, we need to get a striker who can offer us a little bit more, because Brentford are going, no, this is our place. This is where we are in the league. We're going to, the majority of the time, we're going to win games. We're going to have less than 50% possession. We don't necessarily need a striker who can offer us all these extra fancy tricks. Let's just make sure we get a striker who offers us this much. And look, if he wasn't for his shaved head, which is confusing everyone to how young he is, he's fine. He's a fine player. I think Brentford doing real. I did not see Nottingham Forest's drop off, by the way. Like
Palace
this
as
whole
well. Sorry,
this has been
Palace in
yeah.
now.
Look, the Crystal Palace Manchester United are going to face on Sunday are very, very different to the way people talk about Crystal Palace.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the previous game at Selhurst Park, right? I wrote a piece of comparing Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3 to Oliver Glasner's 3-4-3, and there was a point in time where loads of people were like, "Oh, United should go get Glasner," or "Glasner's coaches are better 3-4-3." Whereas now, I mean, it's looking like Glasner's probably not going to coach in the Premier League for some time.
Yeah,
because he seems a little bit burnt out by it all. So we shall see.
he's trying to get that compensation, isn't he? Like he's trying to get fired.
Yeah,
It seems
he's
like
trying his damnedest.
yeah, like he's
I
slagging the
think he's-
fans off. He's slagging the board off. He's just fucking.
I
not
think
having it,
he's
is he?
well within his rights to say quite a few, apart from the
I agree. Yeah,
Palace
I
fans
agree.
should stay humble. I think he's well within his rights to call out the board. I think if you're gone, I've delivered the greatest amounts of success in your club's history. What have you got for me? And they're gone, we're selling your captain. We're selling your most creative.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
We're selling your best player. We're selling your captain. We're going to sell, and also like your striker wants to go. I'll be like, you what?
Yeah.
And it's a shame, right? It'd be great.
No,
It'd be great if some of these Premier League teams, mid-table Premier League teams, can hold on to their best players for a bit longer. And I think the fact that good players only stay at their teams, their middle-class teams, for 2 seasons now, whereas back in the day you might stay for 4, I think that's caused quite a lot of disruption to the Premier League too. Right? Norgard was very good for Brentford, and now
he doesn't play
choice.
at all.
That annoys me. That really annoys me. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to see more of this as we have more expanded competitions. I think if you are, I think one reason why Arsenal are doing so well this season, not only is because Arteta's a good football coach, but because Arteta, before anyone else, has gone, wait, we need this many players to deal with an expanded Champions League, an expanded version of this competition, expanded version of this competition. Yeah, you just need, if you are a football club that wants to play, and Ten Hag, I think Ten Hag got burned by this, in that he said we wanted to win every single game, and United played 62 matches in his first season, and the season after that, everyone broke down.
Yep.
Right? If you want to be a football club that plays 60 matches season after season after season after season, you're going to need 5 centre-backs.
Chunky squad. Yeah.
Right? You're going to need 5 centre-backs, 4 central midfielders, 3 strikers. You're going to need a very healthy pipeline between your academy and your first team. You're going to need 2 or 3 players that are Declan Rice-style Iron Men who could just keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
And you're going to need a heck of a lot of luck too.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see how and if Manchester United try and adapt their squad for the next moment, because they're going to go from playing 40 matches this season to, well, hopefully 55.
Yeah. Couple of community questions, very quick ones.
Yeah, we'll do quick fires.
Two of them are quite related. How does the PGMOL fix the Royal Rumble corners for next season?
For me, if you make it clear to defending teams that they have just as much of a license to tussle back, that's my version, in that I don't mind all the players coming into the 6-yard box to turn it into a Royal Rumble, as long as everyone's got the ability to throw each other around.
Yeah.
The situation where Harry Maguire is like to give away a penalty if he pushes Tarkowski, but Tarkowski can push around Maguire, doesn't quite sit well with me. So that would be my non-genius advice. Switch off VAR and let them tussle.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Turn it into hockey. I'm down with that.
Imagine entrance music and everything.
Yeah.
My solution to many things is let them fight.
Yeah.
And you know this because I'm texting you all the time. Why can't we just let them fight?
Just let it fight. Let it happen. Not United. This is from Brian Casey. Brian Casey, legend, by the way, of the channel. Absolutely love Brian. Not United related, but if you could implement one new rule to football right now, what would it be? His would be similar to Gaelic football, that only the keeper is allowed in the 6-yard box on set pieces before the ball is played.
Right. I'm now getting to this age where I'm just deeply nostalgic for anything experienced at 14. So all of my rule changes would be to try and turn football back into what it looked like 20 years ago. So we are binning off this new expanded version of the European competitions, right? We're going back to group stages, just one group stage, round of 16, knockouts, just like it used to be. Away goals, they're coming back.
Oh, yes.
Because I love the away goals.
Bring golden goal back.
No,
I love golden
goal.
Golden goal was great.
30 minutes extra time, away goals are back. VAR totally abolished. I'd also increased
offside.
The pay.
How are we doing the offside rule? And is it daylight? Are we doing daylight or are we doing like?
Couldn't tell you,
man. Don't know.
I know it's my job to explain the offside rule. It's so hard to explain the offside rule now because I don't think Wenger's version of the offside rule would be useful. I think that'd be quite damaging. I'd pay referees more and do my best to strengthen the pipeline. So I talked about this on Sky on Tuesday and went, why would you pay referees more? And I said, well, if you pay referees more and you made refereeing more of a lucrative career, That way, more people are coming to the end of their time in the game via academy football or coming to the end of their careers in their 20s are going, you know what? I can actually make really good money by being a referee. We'll think about doing refereeing. I think if you made refereeing courses, if you put on more refereeing courses and made it very clear to people doing refereeing courses, hey, you can get good retirement money, good money by being a referee if you work your way up the grades. I think you get more referees. And if you get more people that just have at least 2 or 3 refereeing courses or badges under their belt, you also create a footballing culture that just screams less at referees. Because you go, you know what? Yeah, I can see why he didn't give a yellow card there. Because when I was a referee, bish, bash, bosh. So those are some of the changes I'd do. I'd also try and do some form of wealth distribution, but that's my solution to everything, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You can do another hour on that. But yeah, listen, what's your week look like next week, Carl? Where can people find you? What you doing? Obviously, there's going to be podcast, articles.
All right, mate.
What specific
just farming me out, ain't you? So, I mean, we're talking now on a Friday. I'll be at Sellers Park on Sunday. I'll be doing your match piece for then
Lovely.
the next episode
Old
of
Trafford,
Talk of the
mate.
Devil.
We're not at Sellers Park.
My goodness,
just before you get on the train. Yeah, before
Cheers,
you get
mate.
on the train and go to London.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Reading the paper and you, hang on a minute.
Yeah. He's on the train, sat there like
shit.
Sorry.
Right, I am going to Old Trafford on Sunday. I'll be doing your match piece. So if you read The Athletic, my match piece will be going live on Monday morning for you to read. I have no idea what I'm going to write about because we're going to have to see what that football game goes on to. Talk of the Devils, the next episode of Talk of the Devils, which is the Athletic's Manchester United podcast. That will be recording on Monday morning. So that will be in your podcast feeds on Monday afternoon. I won't be there. I have to be elsewhere on a secret mission, but don't worry, it's fine. And then throughout the week, well, we'll just see because Manchester United are playing again on Wednesday, aren't they?
Yeah, Newcastle.
Newcastle,
Away this
so
time.
I won't. That is away.
Yeah.
I won't be on the train for that one, but I will be covering that one down the tube. So I'll be the person in the very clever person's ear, feeding them match information there. And then the next Talk of the Devils will record on Thursday morning for everyone to listen to then. So yeah, I'll be writing at least 2 match-related pieces this week and doing at least 1 podcast to do with Manchester United too. And then it's Mother's Day. No,
It is.
not yet. It is. There's
in April, March, I think, is Mother's Day.
March 15th, but not next weekend. Bit more time after that. So yes, we're going to be here, there, and everywhere covering Manchester United. If you want to check out my work, head over to The Athletic. If you want to find Talk of the Devils,
we've linked it all.
Boom. And other than that, yeah, I'm around. I'm outside.
I'm outside.
Just anyway,
I'm outside.
The nearest train to Sellers Park, and you'll find him. Yeah.
If you see him at Piccadilly Station, please tell him that he needs to go to Old Trafford, not to Sellers Park.
Please let him know. Yeah. Well, a wonderful lesson. I always feel educated every time you come on, Carl. Really appreciate the time because I know you're a busy bee. And yeah, you have a wonderful weekend. Sam, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you very much.
And everyone else watching, have a wonderful weekend. Appreciate you all watching. See you in a bit.
Boom.